Hey, we're just reconvening here where we left off. So back to Shopify, and yeah, we're on a weekly candle time sense here. So just to get reacquainted with where we are, we were taking a look on the monthly briefly. I'm just going to zoom out, and we drew these two trend lines with well, just with the normal trend line indicator here. Didn't use a parallel channel, although it more or less formed that parallel channel. And we can see that Shopify has been having a steady upward trend here, right from the beginning of where we have that data. And yeah, we're just zooming it in a little bit now to kind of get an appreciation. So on this weekly time frame, we can see that we still haven't broke out of the upward channel here. So this is kind of uplifting in comparison to a lot of the other stocks that we've looked at. I mean, they clearly broke out of their channels. Now I'm just going to correct myself because when you draw it with that parallel channel, you could see that this is a bigger channel, but there's also smaller ones within the larger trend. So you could say that these little rises upward, this isn't going to be a great one, but say like so. These little rises upward are usually broken, and then it continues up here too. So there's it always depends on what time frame you're doing, right? But you could say that there was a little channel rising upward within this trend. So depends on how narrow you want to get, what time frames you want to use. But also right here, you could say that hey, there was a little bit of a trend upward here, and if we look at it like this, you can see that yeah, it did have a breakdown. So within this bigger monthly time frame, you can inappropriately think that it hasn't had some downside action. Just like right here, if you just look at this bigger one, you can say, oh, hey, it's still within this big thing, but within the parallel channel of a more short-term thing, yeah, there's definitely downside action there. So we're just going to go back to our Shopify here and zoom it in a little bit. And in that sense, it's not much different than TD and some of those other ones, as it's had its downward cycle here. It seems like it got support right around here where we've had some spinning tops or some buy and sell action right there as well. And then we've had it here, we've had it here. It's seeming to be a place where there's quite a bit of support, you could say right now, or resistance. There's a reason that the price should slow down through this range. And yeah, so we could say right now, $433 is a relative. Well, we could say it's a support right now. And right now, it looks like it's having quite the good week here. That's quite the green candle. You can see right here, it wasn't really sure what's going on. We had a fight between the bears and the bulls. As you can see, it had some upward movement and some downward movement, and the bulls ended up winning this one. You could say that there's some struggle right here. Yeah, there's some struggle in this price identity right now. This was taking a bigger look at it, see if I could see anything else with some substance. Just going to take a look at the daily here. And a lot of times, I'm just going to draw some of these things, so don't take these too to heart. But whenever we have our new high, if we're just going to continue on this bull market, there's always going to be this A, B, C kind of pattern, right? Now, was that it right there? You could see that you can get a little bit tricked out. Um, or was it like this, right? That's where we'd have to go in here and break this down a little bit more. So, and I can't say that I'm a genius with Elliott wave theory. It's just something I have a little bit of exposure to, and I like to see if there does play. If these start becoming visually apparent, then yeah, I'm going to take a look at them too. You could say something like that, like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, then a 1, 2, 3 down, then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. And within the A wave, this is where it gets complicated. Within the A wave, there's got to be 5 waves too, subwaves in here. So that holds true here. And also within the C wave. So and then this one would have to have a 3-wave structure. So to confirm these suspicions, you have to go through this Elliott wave theory, and then you can start seeing if the places that you actually denominated were actually right. But you can see how this starts getting pretty fuzzy. Although, it's just the way that the stocks work, right? They work in waves, different patterns of waves. And knowing that, I mean, you can draw some decent predictions now. Like when we're looking at this, I mean, would that be more the A? Would that be the B? And did we already have our correction C here? Meaning that we've kind of struck our bottom and we're starting to have our next move up. Same thing here. I mean, you could have thought A, B, C, and then we move up, and it's not quite the full structure. So depending on the time frame, you can draw bigger Elliott wave theory in a monthly sense, and then the same should hold true within the weekly sense, which then should hold true in the daily sense. So realistically, all this stuff should be drawn out in a bigger monthly cycle. And then maybe that will give us a little bit more of an idea where we truly are. Let's say that from the top here we had a little corrective wave, and let's say it was something like that, and then we started off from the bottom, which is always good to know that the 5 waves up always have to start from a bottom. And now, what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3. This could be 1. Well, if I would hold that, that could be 2. 1, 2. We could have this as the 3rd. This could be the And are we coming up for our 5th wave here in this huger giant cycle? But this is how it should work. And then within each one of these, we could say, okay, what's this 3 to 4 look like on a weekly sense? Does this look like it actually has some significance? And you can see how these don't really, they don't look as neat and tidy. You might see me just go silent looking at these things because there is a lot of play here. There's a lot of stuff you can look at, but I think you're getting the point. Like this ABC right here. Let's draw another one. You can see it has its 3 corrective waves in the 3 to 4, and then this 5th one, it has its 5 waves up, and then we did just ride another corrective wave down. Now it's just a matter of, okay, did this actually hold true, or did we narrow it up to fit a shorter time frame? So to see if this holds true, and we're just continuing up now on the start of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's always good just to see a break past this, the all-time high. I mean, there won't be any doubt if we get up here. I mean, by then there's a lot of profit missed out on, though, right? I mean, so here, just to delete some of this stuff to clear it up a little bit, because it's starting to look chaotic, and chaos is not easily tradable. So we want to minimize how much stuff we're looking at. and see if we're just on another ABC pattern here. 1, 2, 3. You can see that this run right there was a little bit longer than this one right here, and you can see that this might be, maybe I denominated this wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Because this is kind of not so up and down perfect, it's tough to say that exclusively. Could very well be something like this too. I'm not completely opposed to this. I mean, we could be looking at a bigger super cycle here. I mean, this is where you can draw this stuff forever. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, 1, 2, 3 down, boom, right there. I mean, that's not right. Either way, I mean, this is some general exposure to how some people use this stuff. I mean, do I see anything clear that I'm going to be using? Not necessarily. I mean, it's just good to know that the waves usually go 5 up, 3 down, 5 back up, 3 back down. That's when we're in the bull market. So that's what happens in a bull market. We have this upward movement of 5 waves up, and then we have the retracement, and then we continue on, if we're truly still in the bull market, back to a 5 wave up pattern. So I kind of got lost for room on the screen there with this, but that's how it works. And in the bear market, it goes opposite way. I mean, so we do 5 waves down, and then the corrective ABC pattern is actually in the reverse setting, so then it's A, B, C, and then if it's truly still a bear market, we're going to repeat that cycle right there. So that is the premise of how you use this, and then there's different waves rules too. So in some of this stuff, when you do the waves up, I mean, wave 3 can never be, I should get that out of here. When you do this, wave 3 can never be the shortest. It always has to be either, it doesn't have to be the longest, it just can't be the shortest. So if 1 is longer and 5, if it's like this, then that's not a true wave, because 1 and 5 or 4 to 5 and 0 to 1 are longer than 2 to 3. So there's different rules of this Elliott wave theory that you can use, but it's just another one of these theories that sometimes can really kind of give you a perspective of just how the markets flow up and down and how they typically flow. And I'd be lying to say that I'm great at executing this strategy, but it's something that I've had some exposure to, and you might see it once in a while. When it's a lot easier to do it in hindsight, to draw these waves and kind of see where we're at and just how waves move. Sorry, that wasn't the clearest and concise, but that was more just some general exposure to some Elliott wave theory. And yeah, you can see why they go up and down a little bit more, right? I mean, they're working in waves, and the down waves, if it's truly up, are only 3, 1, 2, 3, and these upward waves are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it can get muddy where the tops and bottoms are, but you're just basically trying to draw this on something, and there's no way to get better at it except by doing it. So that could be it. I mean, you'd have to further break it down to see if it holds true, but you can get a decent sense of what's happening in the market. So looks like A, B, C, we've got that downward correction. Now, where are we here? You know, is this the top? If we would have had like a failure right here, we'd say it a failure, and we would have had some retracement down. Anytime we start keep on reaching all-time highs, it's pretty tough to say that the party's over. So looking at this thing, you could say that these trends are pretty tightward upwardly. But in here, since there's so much volatility right now, like, it's pretty crazy. I'm just gonna go in a daily sense and to see if we can get a little bit more interpretation of what's going on here. And when you get into smaller and smaller time frames, that's when some of this stuff can start looking it makes more sense apparently. I mean, that's where I drew that mess there. ABC here before, because it looked like a clearly a 1, 2, 3 down. We met the bottom here, had a decent amount of support, and we can say that we've had actually some price action within this time frame. It isn't just like when the candle rolled over, because realistically these candles don't mean anything. Time is just arbitrary, which means that if you look at it under a specific time frame, you can get tunnel vision. So that's why I'm always looking out from the month to the week to the day, because it gives you a bigger perspective of where we're at historically, and you can get a better idea what actually happened in these ranges instead of just up and down. Like, you can't get much idea where there's pivotal points if you can't zoom in and zoom out of these time frames. So right here, yeah, is this just the thing is, it's never black and white. As much as I drew it the one way, I'm not going to do it this way, but let's just say, could it be something like that? I mean, you can see how you can start drawing this stuff. I would not say that that's what I think, but one of the rules, let's say, for Elliott wave theory is that you can't retrace below the second wave. I know that would be a wave failure, obviously, if the 2 retraced that far. Now 4, man. Now I'm going to be hesitant to say this. 4 might be able to retrace back behind 2. I don't think so. I mean, and typically you don't want to see that. There might be a special case scenario. My apologies. I shouldn't bring up stuff that I don't have a great understanding of. But it's something that I think that it's good to have exposure of, because you can see how waves work, and that's where you don't want to over confuse it, and that's what I'm doing right now. But it's nice when there's big V patterns, but can kind of clearly define the top and the bottom. So I'm just gonna zoom out of here, and this, because yeah, we didn't use any of our other indicators, so I'm just gonna zoom out from a monthly standpoint and look at these indicators. So nothing but bullish momentum for Shopify, and nothing but bullishness here. We're pretty much at our all-time high on the MACD. Looking at the weekly here, looks like zooming out, we're still doing pretty good. We kind of had a little rollover here on this sense. We had a sharp turn down like everything, but it got caught pretty quick. So right here we can see it's already getting caught up a little bit. Now this doesn't have any use case here. Since it's so bullish, I'm going to see what a 13 does. So that's 13 KL. So yeah, it looks like this holds true not too bad on this weekly time frame. Since it's so bullish, sometimes I'll change the estimated moving average to see what the price action is following. But you can see here it's getting caught a little bit. If this does round out, this might be a good sign that Shopify isn't going to get hit as hard as other industries from this global pandemic. I mean, usually anything that doesn't require people to be in close proximity to each other, that can still function in this downturn society, might have some good upswing here. All the same, looking at the daily here, you can see it did have that, and we're having a pretty sharp increase in momentum. You can see the prices shot back up here. You can see a bullish indicator here. The MACD swung up. So Shopify is pretty darn bullish here. I mean, it's pretty tough to buy when it's still up so high, because there's not much. I mean, what do I mean? I mean, we're almost at the ceiling here again, right? So when we're looking at the percent, what's the risk to reward here? Well, there's a lot of potential. I guess we got 18% down, up, pardon me. And right here, Depends on where you want to set this next line of support. Do you want to put it, let's say you're going to enter a position here. I wouldn't say you want to put it down there. I mean, you'd want to find something a little bit more immediate, and it looks like there's quite a bit of support right here. So if you're going to take a swing trade here, that's kind of the risk to reward. I mean, you could see maybe a pump up through here. Maybe this is just going to pump up and continue upward. So you could do something like this. I mean, you could enter, this is more just a swing trade thing. You could enter in here and risk that was right. Come on. So yeah, it might be like a 3-to-1 bet. You got the momentum coming up, the MACD's coming up. It looks like it might have played out that ABC pattern. It looks like it's coming up with a lot of steam here. It's tough to say. I mean, this could be a good one. I don't know a lot about the fundamentals of Shopify, but home-based electronic business might be a pretty good thing. Let's just take a quick, more detailed look here and see if we're rounding off the top here. So not quite yet. We can see the 4-hour time frame would have gave us a little bit of a sooner indication that we might be having some upward momentum. You can see this is starting to get steeper, and boom, it blew off the top right there. Let me just see in the 2-hour sense. So it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon right now. 2 hours is here.